Welcome into another episode of NewOrleans.Football. We are coming to you from PJ's Coffee on Airline Highway in Metairie. They are, of course, our presenting sponsor. Every show is brought to you by them. Make sure you start every day with PJ's. And if you're coming up here, you should come here in a car that you bought from my guy, Matt Bowers. He's got dealerships all over the place, but make sure you check out the new pre-owned center up on Vets that just opened up. Great selection of cars, but as always, you will get the best customer care, the best pricing, the best car buying experience that you can find at any of Matt's dealerships. All right. So, big show today. Derek Carr news broke on Friday that he might potentially be undergoing a shoulder operation, or maybe not undergoing a shoulder operation, or something. Something's going on here. Very potentially franchise-altering moment.
Yeah.
If he shuts it down and gets his surgery. So today's first topic is presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. What is Carr's future with the Saints?
There's a lot of unknowns still that we're trying to get to the bottom of, and it's even kind of rare, I think, how secretive every side is keeping this. My best guess, though, is that one way or another, this is trying to force a divorce, trying to force a split, trying to either A, he legitimately is like, my shoulder has reached a point where I think I'd rather take care of it than play this season, or B, it's some sort of threat, like, we asked for you guys to release us, you didn't, we were upset when you just restructured the contract instead of trying to work out a release, so now here's another path for us not showing up, and maybe now we'll force a release. Either way, I think the timing of it is, as we sit here Monday morning, the Saints are reporting for their off-season workout program. And I think we're not showing up for the off-season workout program. I think that's the timing of it. And so, one way or another, it's I want you guys to cut me, I want to get out of this deal, or I'm not going to play and I'd rather take care of my body. But both signs certainly aren't, I'm showing up, let's go, can't wait to get to work. I'm going to be the leader, I'm going to be the first one there. Which is what you'd much rather see. So I don't know how there is any resolution from this.
Yeah, I would say I'll allow for the possibility that maybe he went outside and threw a football sometime in March and something bit in his arm and it's like, oh, man, this is messed up and I got to get surgery or whatever. But unless somebody comes out and says this is what happened, the optics of this paint one picture. And it was a very quietly, but maybe not so quietly, contentious situation with the contract. It never got loud. Nobody was ever making comments in the media or anything like that. But at the core of it, when that happened at the end, where it's just the plain restructure, no give, no extra years, no gonna add in this incentive, no nothing. Because there's always a little something on it almost, it seems like. It always seems like something. It was just a straight, we are restructuring this, and boom, done. And there was talk about giving up some money, maybe doing a pay cut. That didn't happen. We know for sure, and, it was out there everywhere. We know ourselves, so as well, we can say this for sure, he was open to being traded.
Not open, wanted to.
Open to being released.
Yeah.
Wanted to.
Yeah, wanted to.
Yeah.
Wanted, was hoping.
Wanted an exit. Yes. Wanted the exit. Did not want to come back. He wanted to play football for another team that was not the New Orleans Saints. His prerogative. Yeah. I'm a little, if this is an at-odds thing, I'm a little surprised by it because I honestly didn't think it would play out like this. I thought when it was done, it was done. Okay, this is done. It worked out. They're going to pay him $40 million to play quarterback. He's going to get $40 million. He's going to play, and they're going to move on probably a year from now. That's kind of where I saw it heading. I'm a little bit shocked that it's here. But look, if it's here and he doesn't want to be here, I say let him go. Like I would just let him go at this point. I think it's better for him. I don't want to just be mean though. So one more sentence.
Sure.
I think it would be best for him to go on and find somewhere else to play, and I think it would be best for the Saints to go on and play somewhere else. Though doesn't have to be any animosity, whatever. Find a resolution. If he wants out, let him go at this point. Yeah. Like it's very clear. I would just, and if you got to June 2nd, just be done. Be done with the situation at this point. If it's going to be a thing where it's kind of you're at odds.
Yeah, we're connecting some dots here. Obviously, he could be injured. I mean, we saw something similar with Michael Thomas where there was a dispute. I mean, look, players have to take care of their bodies. You don't have to play through something. He's played through a lot. Like, it's actually one of his calling cards that he's played through a ton of injuries. And maybe, like, this is the offseason where he's like, we've been losing. We've been at odds. I've been fighting through this. It's not good for my body. Doctors have been telling me I should get this fixed. Of course, that's all true. But we are connecting some dots because, A, we know he wanted out. B, we know he was very upset when the Saints just restructured the contract and basically forced him to stay. And C, we know that after all that reporting came out and it was like, Derek Carr doesn't want to be here, he has not said a word and not arrived, not talked to the media, not tried to diffuse that, not said anything on his own social media channel.
We know they had to make a call to him to have a conversation, like, in the moment of that restructure to assure him, hey, look, no, you're the guy. I'm surprised. Like, if I'm Derek Carr, I understand maybe not liking playing here.
Yeah.
The organization has bent over backwards for him, and I'm not trying to take their side on anything or that, but they have. They paid him well. They've given him everything he wanted. The coach, I think Dennis Allen's biggest fault was how much he catered to the quarterback and just kind of allowed whatever. I think that was his biggest fault as the head coach. If this is that, it stinks a little bit. But hey, look, if that's what it is, just move on. Move on and be done with it.
Yeah, and that's the big regret. I mean, look, the Saints, no, we are not going to stick up for the organization because
they should have got rid of him.
Even if Derek Carr was saying all the right things, showing up Super Bowl week, saying, I got Kellen Moore on the phone and wouldn't let him off the phone. I'm going to work harder. Remember last offseason with Clint Kubiak? I'm not even sleeping at night. I'm learning this new offense. Like, I've never worked harder to learn a new offense. Even if Derek Carr was saying all those things, I thought they should cut him and start a rebuild just to get out from under the salary. If Derek Carr is adversarial, not here, not working with you and asking out, then absolutely, this horribly managed by the team. If they were like, no, Kellen loves Derek, Derek loves Kellen, we love this marriage more than you and the media see, then okay, fine. But that is clearly not the case right now. So it is mismanagement that they let it reach. If it's definitely a 100% injury, every doctor in the world would agree it's an injury. His contract was guaranteed for injury anyway this year, so they could not have gotten out of the $40 million. The $10 million was fully guaranteed. The $30 million was guaranteed for injury. So if this is a real, true injury, no matter what, there's nothing they could have done about it. And two, you mentioned June 1st. At this point, now that you have guaranteed all his money and restructured his contract, you can make him a June 1st. You would have to make him a June 1st cut. But a June 1st cut is basically the same as a March 1st, 2026 cut.
Yeah.
Either way, it's $69 million worth of dead money waiting for you next year.
Yeah, it's
awful.
Look, if he was asking out, I would have got rid of him just because the simple fact that he did not want to be here. Should have just let him go. Should have let him go. But at this point, I mean, this is just a
lot of information we want to find out. We want to find out.
He's actually hurt, though, yeah.
Yeah, we want to find out how much they knew and when.
I know when they knew and when, and because nothing else makes sense. Derek Carr's actions tell you when they knew and when. They didn't know when this was going on. Derek Carr doesn't say, release me so I can go sign with another team if he thinks he's going to fail a physical. If you know you need a surgery, then that's the most illogical point of action ever. You should be holding on tighter than ever so that you're getting paid and all that stuff. So there's no way he's asking for that. There's no way going into the restructure that he's still – up until that moment asking to be traded and all that stuff. There's no way that because you'd fail the physical. Like, it wouldn't happen.
They were talking about what an extension might look like, what a pay cut might look like. I mean, it was not a – yeah.
Yeah, if you know something's wrong, it was after – I guarantee this is something they found out. They restructured him on the 8th. It's not something they knew before March 8th. Derek Carr didn't – his actions tell you he didn't know it before March 8th. This is one of the weirdest – if it's anything, if it's just a coincidence, it's one of the weirdest coincidences
right
I've
after
ever seen.
The restructure, which they were not happy about, then, maybe he'll be traded then instead after the draft. Maybe, there's just been a clear pattern of Derek Carr wanting out this offseason, not wanting to play for this team.
Yeah, that was the story, too. Even after the restructure, there was...
Okay, well, fine, but maybe they'll trade him then instead.
Yeah,
after the draft.
That was the whisper. Garofalo made a report on that the day of the restructure. Well, he's still a trade candidate. Yeah. So
This is a guy who has made a lot of efforts to leave this team, and it's hard not to see this as another effort to force a divorce or to be like, well, if I have to play for the Saints, at least I'm going to take the year to get myself healthy. That's certainly what it feels like, barring new information.
I'm just ready for the fresh start. This feels like too much for what it is.
Well,
at this point, it's become more than it's worth.
The topic is what's his future. I think we both agree that this would be an awful solution for the Saints to both pay him and not have him. That's probably the worst case scenario. But at this point, that's certainly what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a clear divorce. Even if it means you're eating all that dead money, it means I don't want this entire season to play out like the last month of last season. We don't know. Derek Carr might practice this week every Wednesday. Yeah. He might come off PUP this week. No. And I have a feeling that if he does stay on the team, it'll be on that IR that you can't come back from. I would guess it's not PUP list. It's just not good for anybody to be like, at any given week he could return. It better not play out like that.
Yeah, like him hanging out on the sidelines and all that stuff. No, it's just time to move. Either he's in or he's out, and just move on at this point, which takes us into our next topic presented by Shea Bear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. Obviously, should the Saints embrace a full rebuild? Yes, in the sense of, yes, it's time. At quarterback, you're going to do it. There's moves that have been made that you can't just start over right now, but it's time to – I feel like they've had one eye on now, one eye on the future. It's just got time to have both eyes over here. There's some stuff that still has to play out and expire or whatever. And, look, I think the word rebuild kind of gets tossed around, and people assume it means you have to get rid of every single piece. I don't think you have to get rid of every single piece, but I think it's time to just start – go get the young quarterback. Don't get Aaron Rodgers. Just start making moves to where – you are building for the 2030 team to win the Super Bowl, not to win the NFC South in 2026.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Now, look, I don't mind. I don't think they need to tank. I don't mind if Spencer Rattler starts and they hope to go 9-8 with Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. But don't spend bad money over bad, like you said. I don't want to see them sign Aaron Rodgers and be like, hey, we built this team to win. Now let's pay another guy $30 million and put off rebuilding for more years. That's not what I want to see. I already didn't want to see. I already wanted to see them try to stay competitive. I don't mind a Chase Young contract to Juwan Johnson, a Justin Reed contract to Juwan Johnson contract. Those are guys who should be part of the team in 2027 when hopefully they're a better team. I don't mind stuff like that. But, no, I don't also think this means – they should trade DeMario for a 6th-round pick, and they should trade Tyron for a 6th-round pick. It doesn't have to be like that, but I agree. Do not now start trying to spend your way out of this current jam. Embrace it. Embrace it.
Still
catch up on the cap. Use all your draft picks. Have an eye toward 2027. Go ahead and try to win in the meantime, but 2027 matters most right now.
I'm even still okay if the Saints want to start this rebuild or whatever, whatever direction you're going. I'm even still okay if you go out and sign a Keenan Allen on a 1-year deal to help Spencer Rattler play quarterback and maybe have some more success and get some momentum going. I don't think you have to try to lose every game. And I think sometimes that's what they use rebuild as a pseudonym for tanking. I don't think, like you said, I don't think it has to be that. I'm okay with them still doing things to try to win games, but yeah, all of it has to be in the eyes and through the prism of how do we help the young players develop and get better. And sometimes it is having a couple of vets around. Sometimes it is your young quarterback being able to throw the ball to somebody that has a lot of savvy and can teach your quarterback some things about playing the position and timing and how you do things. So I'm okay with that approach. But
you say Spencer Rattler. I mean, what if it's, Tyler Shuck or Stuart Sanders or Jackson Dart? Maybe they want a Keenan Allen too.
Yes, either way. Yeah, but draft the quarterback. Don't draft the quarterback. Yep. The last thing I want to see is Andy Dalton starting for this team or Joe Flacco type or whoever else. Let it be Rattler. Let him at least go in with it. You can have Dalton behind them and whoever that level of quarterback is out there right now.
There's not even a Dalton out there right now, but yes.
But in week 6, if Rattler's not winning games or Shuck's not winning games or Shadur's not winning games or whoever, then you can roll him in. But I think your plan should be, let's try it out with the young quarterback. Let's try to support him. Let's see if we got something. And if you don't, you don't. And if you do, you do. If you end up with the first pick, great. If you end up with the 12th pick, fine. If you end up with the 20th pick, even better. But it doesn't have to be the full rip it down to the studs.
Yep, I completely agree.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room, because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com. Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football. Our next topic is presented by Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. What do you think is the best way for the Saints to address QB? And we just kind of talked about it a little bit. I think we're both on the same page with the rebuild, but what do you think?
Here's my number one answer to this question is, the moment this happened, every national analyst, a lot of local analysts, a lot of fans on Twitter were, well, now they have to take a quarterback at 9. My answer is, do not change anything you were already going to do. Do not be like, well, we had a second-round grade on Shedeur and Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck, but now we're going to take one of them at 9 because we have to. Don't do that. Now, if you have a first-round grade on those guys, even if they're 25th on your board, you wrote a really great back and forth, like both sides of the argument column on this, that sometimes you do have to do what's uncomfortable and take stabs at this position. Like a second round grade doesn't suddenly become the number 9 pick, but if he's the 20th guy on your board, yeah, maybe you do have to take him at 9. Yeah. It's that important. So, but that was already true for me when you thought you had Derek Carr. That's still true for me when you don't have Derek Carr. Shedeur Sanders does not go from he's 50th on our board, we'll take him if he gets to 42. Now we have to take him at 9. Maybe there's a slightly more, we were hoping he'd fall to us at 40, but let's go ahead and trade up to 30 and make sure we get him. Maybe there's a little more of that, but it is still, if it doesn't happen this year, it happens next year. I treat the next 2 years like at least a 2-year, like they have to rebuild this whole roster. Like they're not just missing one piece.
I think smart aggression is kind of the right way to go about it. And when you have an extra year and you do have the quarterback on your roster right now who's going to start games for you, I think you can take the word aggression out of it. I think at that point it's a little bit more calculated and looking for the right opportunity while also knowing that you kind of have to strike. When you take that out, I think it does. I think it's what you said. You got to be willing to maybe, if he's 30th and you're drafting at 9 and you're like, man, I really think he might be good, but he's not worth it. Maybe all of a sudden you have to change your calculus a little bit. And that might even be stretching too far, but you have to be willing to stretch a little bit. But where I vehemently disagree is all of a sudden people find out the quarterback isn't there and they're like, well, now Jackson Dart wouldn't be a reach at 9. And it's like, that's the very
He's
definition.
the same thing he was a week ago.
Yes, that is the very definition of reaching. Well, now you have to do this because it isn't there. So, no, that's exactly what you don't want to do. You don't want to do the thing that you were never going to do, but now you have to do it, which that's a bad way to operate in anything. Like, you just don't want to have to do that. You don't want to say, well, I need a place to live and this house is in the area I want to be at, but they're overpricing it by $300,000, but I'm going to pay it anyhow. No, that's a dumb decision. Just drive a little bit further or wait for the next house to go for sale. You can't operate like that. You can't be reckless. It has to be smart. It has to be calculated. And I do agree, though, but you have to be a little bit more aggressive than maybe otherwise you would have when you know you have nothing there, because it is the most important position in the world. And the last thing you want to do is bypass Lamar Jackson when you think, hey, this guy has a shot. That's the last thing you want to do. But the last thing you also want to do is draft Blaine Gabbert when J.J. Watt's behind him. So you just need to make sure you're seeing it with clear eyes. And if you're like, I don't like this guy, but I'm going to draft him because I have to, that's not where you want to be. But if it's, man, we like the pass rusher from UT San Antonio, but we also like the quarterback.
Don't do that.
And we think this guy's a little bit better.
Don't use 2 first-round picks on anybody this year.
Now you go after the quarterback instead. So, I mean, I think you just got to be you got to make those types of decisions.
But I hope your next quarterback is a draft pick.
So do I.
I don't care if it's this year. Frankly, I don't care if it's 26 or 27. Go ahead and let it be Arch Manning in 27. Like, do
we think he stays all 4, right? That's the main
maybe
way.
if they win the national championship next year or something like that. But
or if the Saints have the number 1 pick and he really wants to be a Saint.
You cannot say though, like this, like he's going to be the guy next year. Like that can't be your plan because
we also don't know if he's going to be the number 1 pick ever.
That's true.
We haven't even really.
There's a lot of unknowns. But look, as much as you want to will this to happen and be like, come on, Saints, you need a quarterback. Stop being so stubborn. Sometimes the draft class is the Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder draft class.
Yep.
And the league was not wrong that year. They were like, these guys aren't it. You can't force it. You can't will it to happen because you want it to happen so bad.
Yep.
It's still got to be the right guy. Garrett Grayson, was he the 3rd quarterback taken that year or something like that? You pointed out, it's like, You can't take him in round 1 and make him a round 1 pick. You like if it's not a round 1 pick, it's not a round 1 pick.
Yeah, and then Rattler was the next pick after Penix after
Bo
Nix.
After Nix, it was Rattler last year. So now look, I bet they do draft a quarterback this year. They've done so much homework on him. I think the value is going to be pretty good for Tyler Shuck. I think the value could be good for Quinn Ewers. The value could be good for Jalen Milroe. Like, I mean, if they take one at 40, if they move up into the back end, just don't force 9. Don't force 9 is the main one. Like, maybe go ahead and play around with 40 more than you otherwise would have. Maybe. But
where'd Field tell us Shuck would have to go? It was like he was saying end of the first, right?
Field did say it's the first round, yeah.
Yeah, he said if you want him end of the first, is probably where you got to go. Yeah.
But
and it could be higher.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. They know more than we do, but don't let Derek Carr change your board. Because, and I say that because, look, there were some years where if Drew Brees would have gotten hurt in 2015, like Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning got hurt, they drafted Andrew Luck. Yes, of course. But I'm saying they already should have taken a quarterback if they liked a quarterback. Derek Carr's 34 years old and only had 1 year left of this team anyway. So that should not make them be like, we had already decided we weren't taking one at 9, and now we will. That's the only thing I wouldn't change.
It's going to be interesting to see where they go. I've heard from 2 teams that have Shuck ahead of Shedeur Sanders on their board. And I've heard from a bunch of teams that think that there's not a consensus on the quarterbacks in this draft. You can say what you want to say. Like, people are wrong all the time. I still personally would take Shedeur first. I would rather make my bet there. I want him to be the pick at 9.
Yeah.
Like, that's the guy I want the Saints to take. It would be the most exciting thing. One of those 2 opinions, though, I got to say, from this organization, it would be an opinion that I think a lot of people around here would be like, oh man, that's a team that probably sees things the right way. And there are people out there, smart people out there, that think he is the second best quarterback in this class. And as
Shuck?
Yes. So
Real
9
quick,
would be insane to me, though. I don't want to see. Like if they pick him at 9, I'd be open minded to it, whatever. But sitting here right now,
I would be my number one choice. I would be thrilled if they really believed it. We both made this point in 2 different columns that we wrote this week because we both ran into Sean Payton. I also ran into a bunch of people at the Combine, LSU Pro Day. Everyone from Denver is just like, we love this guy. We love this guy. It's like, I don't know if they're trying to sell something or whatever, but they're like in the honeymoon phase with Bo Nix. I want the Saints to feel that way about any quarterback. And if they do take him at 9, take him at 9. Find your Bo Nix. Find your Michael Penix. Where we keep saying we're predicting they're not going to have him. That would be the best case scenario. Just real quick, though.
I got to see Penix win some games, though. Everyone's always like, I got to see Penix do something. Like, I'm not sold yet.
They were sold enough to make a shocking, like, please be that sold on a quarterback, please.
Good point.
We turn this into a draft question. I know one of the submissions for our question of the day later in a segment that we didn't pick was, should they try to trade for Tanner McKee now, who is a backup for the Eagles, because Kellen Moore knows him? Should they trade for Kirk Cousins now? Should they? There's not a lot out there. Carson Wentz is out there. Easton Stick, who worked with Kellen Moore. I don't feel the need to force anything. Like, Spencer Rattler is the obvious backup plan here, I think. Like, yes, draft a better quarterback, maybe, if you have a high grade on a first or second rounder, but I do not need to go get a Tanner McKee. Spencer Rattler, like, part of the reason I wanted the Saints to cut Derek Carr is he's at least at the level that I kind of want to see what it looks like. Let me find out for a year.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't bring somebody mediocre in to block Rattler.
I need a safety net, though, I think.
Maybe.
I need a safety net, because if that goes just completely up in flames,
but I don't want somebody ahead. I want somebody behind them.
Safety
Yes,
net. I like it. Like I said before, I want to go. Like, if you're in week 4 or whatever, and it's a disaster, and you got to do something, do it. I can see the safety net there, because if it's one good half, bad good half every single week for the rest, you just can't keep doing that. I think you erode a lot just being willing to be that bad. I think you got to try to do something, but Spencer Rattler, if it's not, should be the plan to me. He should be the plan. So 100% agreement there. I'm with you all the way. I just feel like you got to be able to put out a fire maybe if you need to put out a fire.
Ben DiNucci's not a fireman? Jake Haener?
It's not Jake Haener. It's not Jake Haener.
This could keep Jake Haener on the team.
Yeah.
One more spot for a third quarterback.
Going to our next topic, presented by Aaron Rose. How much does this impact what the team should do in the draft, and not necessarily just through the quarterback prism? Yeah. Does it change your approach on what they need to do to support the quarterback? Do you prioritize that side of the ball maybe more than the other now?
I would say the one thing that it changes for me, not changes, I felt this way already, but hopefully it strengthens their conviction on, is beyond everything we just said in the last segment about whether quarterback should be more of a priority, you should be on the 2027 plan 100 million% now. So I'm not trading 2 picks to go up and get Genty, or 2 picks to go up and get the defensive tackle. Like, I'm like, I want all 9 of my picks out of this draft. If anything, maybe I should be more likely to trade down. We are now in a 2-year rebuild the roster plan and look at the draft that way, not, this one guy would really help us get over the top in 2025. So that is one way I think it should impact their draft.
What's kind of interesting is it seems like very late in the process here that I'm just trying to make sure what I'm saying. The Raiders got Shadur coming in for a visit. There's been a little bit of smoke about O-line, D-line. I wonder if Genty makes it to 9. If he gets past them at 6, it feels extremely possible that he could potentially be there. I know there was some talk about the Jets maybe have an interest in then trading Hall potentially. So it would be interesting if he ends up there. But if you got a rookie quarterback or Spencer playing quarterback, does that change your view on maybe bringing in a running back that can be the total identity of your offense?
It doesn't change my view because of what I just said. If I'm on the let's make this team good by 27 or 28 plan, that's my main reason for not wanting to take a running back in round 1 is I feel like Genty's the kind of guy who could transform your organization overnight, but this organization's not going to be good until his 3rd NFL season. You know what I mean? But again, if he's like the 3rd or 4th best player in this entire draft class, go ahead and get good players.
I think for me, I think it ups it. I think I want him more because it allows me to bring my quarterback along, develop him, get my O-line just a little bit better and be able to do it that way. But I see it both ways, though. I see your point of view. I'm just on the other side of that thought process. But, yeah, I just think whatever they do, though, in the draft now should be about how do we make this a situation where it's conducive to success for our quarterback, and how do we take weight off him so that he can develop and not just shatter because we're saying, hey, throw us a victory, kind of the way they did with Derek. I feel like they did that with Derek a little bit. And I think you just have to – you gotta have the running back. You got to have the receiver. You got to have the O-line that just allows your quarterback to exist beneath that layer. Because, like, if Bo Nix is carrying everything, like, I don't think we're talking about him positively right now if he doesn't have any help on that side of the ball. That's going to do it for this block. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. Services include AC and heating, service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. You ever take a bite of something and immediately think, yeah, I'm coming back for this? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant just added some new dishes, and man, they crushed it. The shrimp and crawfish pistolets, golden and stuffed with bold Cajun flavor. Fried oyster tacos, crispy, fresh with the perfect kick. And the soft shell crab Alfredo, creamy, rich, and absolutely worth the order. They're open 7 days a week, and they deliver late. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811.
Here at the Queen Casino, indulgence knows no bounds. Prepare your taste buds for an extraordinary culinary journey. Start your day at Capital Coffee. Craving something different? Three Walks Noodle Bar offers a tantalizing selection of Asian delights. At 1717 Kitchen and Cocktails, savor American cuisine with a twist. Or ascend to the loft for an elevated experience. Enjoy artesian grazing boards and exquisite craft cocktails. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back to PJ's Coffee for the question of the day, which is presented by Rouse's Supermarket, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Will the Saints look into acquiring a big red zone body type? And if you are in Rouse's, grab the magazine. I wrote a little column in there you can check out when you check out at Rouse's.
I chose this question because I knew we'd be spending the entire time talking about the quarterback, so I picked the one question that wasn't about the quarterback. But there is a little bit of this is one of the ones we've been screaming about. I don't know if this priority becomes more or less. I was just going to ask you in the last segment, but I knew this was coming up. Do you think if you're taking on that, hey, we have to help the rookie quarterback we just drafted, we have to help Spencer Rattler, does Tyler Warren do that for you even as much as Genty, as much as an offensive lineman? Is Tyler Warren a comfort pick that helps make everything easier for a young quarterback or not?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. You kind of get a guy that can make some contested catches. He can do a lot. He can transform some different things, allow you to run some different offensive packages. But I think if you give a young quarterback a top 5 running game, I think that elevates them like 5 spots, and whatever you think about him is going to make you think way more positively. Like if Brock Purdy doesn't have the running game that he has, he's not Brock Purdy. He's somebody else. Yeah. So no, I would say not in the same way, but he can help. I think he can certainly help quite a bit. I mean, Brock Purdy isn't Brock Purdy without George Kittle either, but I think more so is that running game. But Warren will help your running game. He'll help you do some different things. He can block decently. So, yeah, he helps. But I like if I'm picking Saquon or Kelsey or Saquon or Kittle or Saquon or Bowers for my rookie quarterback, I'm going to take Saquon first.
The reader who sent in this question mentioned three specific names: Colston Loveland, Jaden Higgins, and Isaiah Nahor. I would love Jaden Higgins in round 2. That feels like a spot in the draft, round 2 or early round 3, where you can maybe get some value at receiver. I feel like Colston Loveland is a name we have not talked about at all, because we always talk about Tyler Warren as a possibility in 1. What if Warren goes 8? Is Colston Loveland right on that same level for you, or is he not at 9?
Not at 9. Not at 9 for me. No, he's a later mid round first, maybe 10 picks later, something like that. I can't get there for him.
Yeah, some guy. I've seen a few analysts. I've been surprised. I've seen him in the top 8 on some analysts, but those are boards where Cam Ward isn't in the top 8. Where it's
there's
like
injury stuff too that I think you kind of gotta look at with him as well. What's really weird to me is Will Johnson not running this 40 today. That feels like don't draft me unless you run his own scheme move. Like, he's telling you, like, if you aren't running the 40, he's telling you. There's a reason you're willing to do everything but run the 40. Oh, he looks a little bit slow on tape. Oh, I'm not going to run the 40. Okay, all right, yeah.
Look, man. I'm gonna be booed out of the building. I'm on team offensive line, and I feel like there's been nothing but rising love for Banks. I feel like out of the 3 offensive linemen that might go in the top 12, I feel like there might be value there too. I'm gonna be rooting for the pick that everyone hates. I'm rooting for Shedeur too for the same reasons.
I'm rooting for Genty first. Honestly.
Yeah, I know you are.
Genty's my number 1 guy. Like
I know you are.
I love him. I just texted someone in the league if they think he could fall, and they're like, it's starting to feel more possible. So
I'm all right. Kelvin Banks over here, boo. Genty over there, way more exciting. But that's where we've been leaning a little bit.
I'll put Shedeur first, just for
of course.
I like Shedeur.
I want the Saints to want Shedeur.
I want the Saints to want Shedeur. I want them to draft him and feel good about it because it's the best story. It's the best story. It's the most exciting thing. I don't know that I would bet everything on any of these quarterbacks in this draft class, where I would never bet anything on a quarterback working in any draft class.
I won't bet on Drake May right now.
Yeah, I would have bet on Joe Burrow, and that would have been the last one that I would have bet on. Before him, it would have been Andrew Luck. I would have probably sprinkled a little on Trevor Lawrence.
I probably would have bet on Caleb Williams, and now I might not. I'm not sure now.
Caleb would have lost me during the pre-draft process last year.
Jaden Daniels, I'm a little sold right now. I hope he can keep it up. He's fun to watch.
I would have been wrong. I wouldn't have bet on him, though, either. I wouldn't have bet on C.J. Stroud. I wouldn't have bet on Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Joe was the last one that I would have been like, I really surefire can't miss prospect. So, yeah, I mean.
It's tough.
But I want him to take a quarterback. I want him to.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to do it for us on this show. We'll see what they do. We'll be back on Wednesday.